I am so glad that you're here today. Do you like to tell stories about things that you've done? I like to share stories from when I was younger with you because it helps you to understand that as a child, I experienced many of the things that you are going through as you grow up, and that sometimes, even as an adult, I may experience some of those things as well. It also helps you to see how God has impacted my life. The things that we share about our lives are really part of a much larger story, and that brings us to our lesson today. For the next several sessions, we are focused on better understanding the Bible. It's a very large book, and it can at times be confusing to read and understand. Over the next few weeks, we're going to help you understand the Bible better. The Bible is seen as one book, but it is really 66 books and letters compiled into one big book. These books and letters are grouped into different sections. Because the books are grouped into sections, I like to view the Bible like a library. Have you ever been to a library? If you have, then you will see different sections to help you find specific topics easier. Over the next several sessions, we are going to look at these different sections of the Bible. The first thing to understand is that this library, the Bible, is broken up into two parts, the Old Testament and the New Testament. Let's look at these two testaments or testimonies as separate library buildings, an older building and a newer building with a connecting hallway. The first aisle in this older building of this library we call the Bible is filled with history. The first 17 books of the Bible are called historical books. That means that they focus on specific times, places, and people and what they experienced during that time. Just like the stories that we share with one another, God inspired people to record events in their lives so we could learn from them. The books that we find in this history aisle are Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings, 1st and 2nd Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, and Esther. These books share the lives of many people and how God used them for His kingdom. We do not have time to talk about all of them. Some of them you may have read or been taught. Can you name some of the things that we see in these books of history in the Bible? Yeah. We see the account of Noah and the flood, God giving Abraham a promise, the creation of the earth, as well as Adam and Eve. We see how sin came into the world, how God wanted to be the king of mankind, but they wanted a man to do it, and the good times and bad with those kings. We see David defeating Goliath and so much more. These 17 books of history help us to understand our world and people. In these books, we see that everyone sins, even those who did great things for God. But through all of what we see in these books of history, we see the plan from the beginning to save us from our sin. People continually turned their backs on God and then repented and turned back to Him. And each time, God welcomed them back. By reading these books of history, we begin to recognize that even though we may fail, that we will sin, God will always keep His promises. Like the one He made to Abram, who was later called Abraham, in Genesis chapter 12, verses 1 and 2. Now the Lord said to Abram, "Go from your country and your kindred, and your father's house, to the land that I will show you. And I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great, so that you will be a blessing." God promised to bless all the world through Abraham. God sent Jesus from his home in heaven to be born on earth into Abraham's family. Through Jesus, all nations of the earth are blessed because Jesus saves people from their sin. I hope to see you next time as we take a look into the next aisle in this older library building, the Old Testament of the Bible.